Majic Mike in the mix on the Zoom. We got, I call him a legend, man. We've done 2 projects. We've done BlackFace, and it came out in a time such as now. And then we came out, oh, man, I'm going to let the brother talk, right? We got my man SoulRac all the way down from Florida. What's going on, my man?
Yo, what's up, man? It's always a pleasure being with you. You know what I'm saying? We're keeping it real for the underground hip hop, all
Underground,
local and national, all around. You know what I mean?
of course, man. It's a pleasure to look at you. You know what I mean? Usually we're doing things over the phone or emailing or some kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, let's just get right to it. Who's some of
Okay.
your musical influences? I know when you were last on the Majic Hour,
Yes.
every Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. on CHUO 89.1, also on Live 89 FM. And we spoke about who your favorite artists are, right? So maybe that's changed. You got one. So let us know, man. Who's some of your musical influences?
Well, I mean, we touched on one last time. We definitely talked about Public Enemy, which, I think created the consciousness of hip hop. Not saying there wasn't people before him, because you had Melly Mel, they dropped that song, The Message, so you had a lot of people that contribute to the culture. But as far as lyricism is concerned, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, most of the MCs from the golden era, because it was style and substance. It wasn't just style or devoted to one sound, but everybody wanted to have their own name. They wanted to create a legacy. And so that's my influences for the most part, is those MCs from the golden era. One shout out to Chuck D and Public Enemy, shout out to Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, but we can't forget about Run DMC, because I think they made hip hop fashionable. You know what I mean?
Yes, they did. And back then, everybody had their own style, even to the point where brothers had costumes. I think we've mentioned that before. Exactly. Now, what are some of the albums, you grew up listening to that influenced your style?
Well, one of them, oh yeah, my bad.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, one of them was like Fear of a Black Planet, because I think when they dropped that, I mean, that just changed the game, because before then, it was like party records. You had LL Cool J was doing this thing where he dropped his music. But and then you also had Run DMC, which was talking about something, but then they started making us more conscious. It was like, yo, when I heard that, I was like, this changed the game right here, you know what I mean? But when Rakim came out, he dropped his first album, just the tracks that were on there, like I Ain't No Joke, My Melody. It's just the way he brought that flow out that was just so different. And I think it just revolutionized the game. And then, of course, I'm always going to have love for Slick Rick when he dropped his first album. That was dope, because he brought that storytelling flavor to the forefront with children's story and so forth. So it was a lot of albums that dropped during that golden era of hip hop, but those are the ones that stood out for me the most.
Okay. Now, what are your dream collaborations? Either with a rapper, either with a B-boy, either with a DJ or a producer, any of the 4 elements, who are some of the ones that you want to collaborate with?
Well, you know what? I would love to do a track with you, because I know you do some things. You try to be modest, but I already know you do some things on the background. So definitely want to do something with you.
So what motivated you to embrace, the hip hop culture?
Well, what made me embrace the hip hop culture? I grew up listening to it. I remember at a young age, my uncle, he's much older than I am. He was playing hip hop music, and when he was playing, I was like, this is just something different. It was different than during the music my mom was playing, because she was playing some of that R&B, like James Brown and all of that. My uncle was playing some of the hip hop. So I had a mixture of music that I listened to. And then, of course, my uncle, he was much older, so he was playing something back, like that Motown sound. So all of those sounds collectively influenced me. But hip hop just kind of grabbed me, because it was more of my era, more of what I was interested in, because it talked about what was going on. And I at our age group, talking about the things that was going on in the hood and things that were going on in life. And so that influenced me. And because it influenced me so much, I wanted to do it. And I grabbed a pen and paper, start writing, and then you have what you have today, basically.
So, let's just see the differences, of, conscious rap and today's hip hop. So the state of today's hip hop, we know that it's being used as a tool, right? It could be used as a tool to embrace peace and love, or it could be used as a tool to kill and destroy. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a virus, an infection, going on in this hip hop thing. Every time this new age hip hop hits a city, there seems to be a lot of problems. Like Chicago, the whole Chicago drill rap, it started there. Then we got the New York drill, the UK drill. We even have Toronto drill up here in Canada. And it seems to be there's like a really bad essence that goes with that. You know what I mean? So I really think they're gonna ban hip hop if we don't get our act together. So you know, what are your takes on this? This is a big topic right here.
Yeah, I feel like that's the problem too. Not only do we have the negative influences, but I think we have a loss of creativity. I think artists have taken the easy route and decided to do what's popular versus taking the risk and do what can be influential. In my opinion, that's the reason I went the route I did, because I was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not a young guy, so I don't, you know, I can't write music that doesn't fit my persona. That don't fit me. Secondly, I felt like when I write, I want to influence people for generations, because I think about my son and my daughter. It's like I want to leave a legacy behind them, and then I want to talk about what's going on, what's really going on, not just how much I can party and how much I can drink and do all of that. I did that when I was younger. Now that I'm older and matured and experienced life, I need to leave something that will impact people for generations, and that's what the music's about.
Okay, so you know, with the murder of George Floyd, you know what I mean, R.I.P. to him and his condolences to his family. You know, how's this changed? You know, how's this changed the world? And also, you know, there's been a lot of other killings that have happened before George Floyd and after. Now, I'm not saying names of certain movements that are around right now, but how come they're not marching and protesting for the other brothers and sisters that died? You know what I'm saying? Like shortly after the George Floyd situation, you had a sister or a brother that was hung. You know what I mean? People getting hung. So how has this changed the world? Do you see? Did it change the world?
I think it has. I compare it to Bloody Sunday that occurred about 55 years ago with John Lewis, you know, rest in peace to him, and Martin Luther King, because at that time, you know, before, when they were marching and they were protesting, it was bringing attention to what the move was, but ideally they wanted to change and bring the Voting Rights Acts in. But when Bloody Sunday happened, where people were filmed being beaten down and people was just pretty much pulverized by the police, it brought attention to it, and it brought it to the forefront where everybody's like, this is really going on, because it was happening, but if people it didn't touch them directly. It was more they were disconnected. And as you said earlier, with George Floyd being videotaped, because now we got a video camera on our phones, we can videotape what's going on, and people can see what's happening. And because of that, reality is setting in, and people are seeing it. I think people are more conscious about what's going on. Like we knew from the Freedom Rides all the way to, you know, Michael Brown, Trayvon Martin, and all these different people, Tamir Rice, all these people were going on, and we knew they had died, and we were upset about it. And Black Lives Movement started the movement right after Trayvon Martin died. But all of these things were happening. But when we saw the video and we saw Eric Gardner, and we saw the video of George Floyd, and they just saw the guy knee on his neck for 8.5 minutes or 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I think that just reverberated across the world, because
it's crazy, right? How he stood on his neck for that long. You know what I mean? And look at that, my Google's going off.
No, that's cool. That's
yeah, it's crazy, right? How he stood on his neck for that period of time, right? Totally shocked the world. You know what I mean? And it did bring some light to the way we were being treated. Like people were protesting in Iran and you know what I mean, all over the world, like Iran of all places. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
So it did bring light to it. And I'm not going to lie to you, for 3 weeks after that, people opening doors for me. People were waving to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't even going into the store, and the sisters opening the door for me. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
You know, it brought some forefront, you know. And speaking of all that, you know, since, you know, Donald Trump has become president, he's trying to go for another run. That's another subject, right?
Of course.
I seen some good things he's done, right? Some certain things that he's doing in the White House. And there's certain things that he's doing that's wrong, and certain things he's saying that's wrong. Now, do you think racism has vamped? But I will say this. When Obama was in office, there was a lot of killings. That's when Chicago took off in the killings, okay? So, you know, has it gotten worse for racism? Has the violence gotten bad in America since Trump has got elected? And he might get reelected again.
That's a possibility, but I'm believing with all the faith that I have within myself and the people that we can prevent that from happening. I think with his election or his candidacy, that he brought racism more to the forefront. It always existed. We can't be in denial about that. One of the ways that you overcome racism is not denying it and actually admitting that it exists for those who exercise that on a full-time basis. But what I'm saying is that with him being in office, he made the situation worse because he emboldened people to make them feel like it was okay to be racist, or made them feel okay to exercise racism at the level that they're doing. They had people that came out of the forefront. David Duke, who was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, or KKK, he was like, that's my candidate. You know, you never seen him in that position before. And just some of they used to use what they call dog whistles. Basically, they're just ideas, or they'll have words out there that they'll put out there just to draw people attention and to make them realize that, hey, you vote for us, we pretty much support you, but we ain't gonna make it known. He was all out with it. He had used what they call a bullhorn. He basically just said, hey, you know, get behind me because I am the president for the racists. So with that being said, by him being in office, I felt like he condoned it, and he made it worse because he gave people the unction to continue in the thinking that they had before.
It's true. You know, Caucasian people all over the world, you know, I mean, like a lot of them, you know, don't want the president in for certain reasons, but he is conducting certain racial slurs. And you know, some person told me he's just saying that to keep, you know, the white liberals and conservatives on his side, you know what I mean? Right. So who knows what the situation is, but you know, so you're aware in November, we got the elections. You're very aware of that. Okay. And if we have a new president like Biden, he's running for president against Trump. Things could change between now and November. I'm hearing, you know, God bless his soul, Michelle Obama, God bless that beautiful lady that we had in the White House. If she runs with Biden, it's game over. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. It's game over. You know what I mean? So, and then, you know, some people were saying, like, you know, it doesn't matter who's in, we're still going to have the same issues. But I think Michelle Obama, she's a great lady. And I really believe she has different points of views. Don't forget, she grew up differently than Barack. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, she did.
And she had a little bit more melanin in her, right? So she probably might have a little bit more sympathy. You know what I mean? But let me tell you something. If they give her a chance to get up in office and she don't do nothing, I don't know. Yeah, and you know what I mean? We worked on a project called BlackFace, you know what I mean? And it came out literally, I think, a month or two before the whole George Floyd situation, right? And the whole lockdown and things of that nature. That's right. Now, let's talk about BlackFace. You know, big ups to Big Bob Patterson for producing that. The bass is so thick, so heavy. The video that I did for you, I wanted, you know what I mean? I wanted to do something different, you know what I mean? That video is hitting 50,000 views on YouTube. Yeah. A lot of people shouting you out down there. You're getting a lot of fans. Well, actually, we're getting a lot of fans. Everybody that was part of that project. Yeah. And the images were very powerful. Now, when I made that at the end, right, after it was being mastered and I viewed it, I actually threw it on the big TV, right? Okay. And I was teary-eyed. It made me teary-eyed because the image of the brothers that were killed, it was like probably like 20 of them on the screen. Then it shifted over to the pharaohs and the kings, you know, the mighty empires we had. Yeah. These are the exact same Hebrew, exact same Egyptians, exact same, you know, the list goes on. Moors, you know, the list goes on. Yeah. Even the pygmy people that travel from Africa all the way to the Fiji Islands. This is who we are as people. Yes. We're not a bunch of thieves, not a bunch of murderers. Exactly. You know what I mean? So this video here, this whole project, BlackFace, was unreal. And big ups to Aisha, right? Yeah. Am I saying her name right? Over in Holland? Yeah, Issa. Yeah, I got you. Issa. You know what I mean? So let's explain that right now about BlackFace. And, you know, big ups to everybody on your team that's been pushing that imagery, everybody. You know what I mean? Big ups to everybody. Let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah, definitely. Like, I want to give a shout out to the same people you mentioned, Big Bob, who produced the track, Issa and Fix, you know, for providing that support, you for making the video, and everybody that supported it online. But like we was talking about with the song, dealing with blackface. I mean, blackface been going on for over 200 years, where it was comfortable. It was a source of income for, you know, white performers to darken their face. They'll burn cork, or they would put on some grease paint and cover their face and look, you know, darken their face to look similar to a black person, and then they would change their dialect and try to speak in a more, you know, ignorant tone, just to try to degrade
at the time it was enslaved Africans that were here, but ultimately it became a routine. And the goal was to use it for laughs. There was a guy by the name of Al Joseph made a song, Mammy. Basically, he would get on the stage and perform in a certain demeanor and try to degrade African Americans in the process. And this practice has started over 200 years ago and is still going on even today. Even your prime minister was caught with the blackface, and then there were governors here as well.
That kind of slipped in the video at the beginning.
I saw that. That's why I had to mention it. But yeah, that's what's been going on for a minute. You know, we just bringing it to the forefront, letting people know that it's here and it hasn't gone anywhere.
Okay, so speaking of blackface, let's hear that track right now. I suggest turn the treble down on that, turn the mid range if you got an EQ, and pump that bass and feel those lyrics, all right?
Yeah.
Right now, here's SoulRac with BlackFace, produced by Big Bob Patterson. Let's go. And we're back. If you're on my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Majic with a J, Majic Mike. You know what I mean? So SoulRac, you have another project called Belly of the Beast featuring Craig G and VVS Verbal. You know what I mean? Again, thank you so much for letting me on that project. The video was, again, like another level.
Yeah.
All right. We like, I've been in that system before. Majic Mike hasn't always been like on the radio and things, right? And you know, when I was doing that video, everything, it brought back memories. The way the walls were, the way the floors were, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, it was such a powerful video doing it. Now, like, how did you come up with this concept? How did you even partner up with Craig G on this one from the legendary Juice Crew? How did you do that?
You know, it was, you know, I big ups to Big Bob. He made it happen. You know, he just made that connection. And even with VVS Verbal, who was with Duck Down Records, you know what I'm saying? So it just came together. The concept of Belly of the Beast, you know, in a way it's personal to me because my father is a victim of mass incarceration. He was cased up since I was a youth and still there even to this day. And just so many people that been incarcerated and haven't had the opportunity to get out. So many families have been broken up. I'm one of those people who experienced it firsthand. And so it was just something that needed to be talked about and needed to be addressed. And I'm just grateful that Craig G was on there along with BBS Verbal.
Okay, we're gonna check this track out, but I wanted to ask you, is there anything you want to say last? Any shout outs, and give off your social media?
Oh yeah, definitely. Shout out to all the people who I've been working with. Of course, Big Bob, you know, Craig G, my man, BBS Verbal, Mike Hands, Instant Fix, my man Caper, as well as man Baba. We get ready to drop something as well with a project with our group named King's Gambit. And as far as social media, it's at SoulRac Music on all social media platforms.
All right. Thank you so much, SoulRac. And one thing, did you want to say something to our brothers and sisters worldwide? They're going to be tuning into this audio and visually. Anything last you want to say for the words of wisdom?
Oh, yeah. I just want to let everybody know, you know, let's continue to fight this fight, you know, fight for freedom. We got to realize that it's not just going to fall in our lap. We have to put action behind it. And not only should we just protest, whether it be on the streets, but also we need to use our economic dollars to support Black businesses and let these businesses that support the things that go against us, let's don't put no more money in their pocket. Let's diversify our income. You know what I mean?
All right. Big ups to SoulRac. He knows what time it is. He's prepared for anything. Look at that. Look, hold on a second. I want to see. Let's get a view of SoulRac for a minute. Say something, SoulRac.
Yeah, what's up, everybody?
I like that. He's got his headphones on and everything. Let me just get the screen where it's double screen. All right, man. See, he's professional, man. Any artist right now who's watching this, we in the industry know who's serious. You know what I mean? And let's say, you know, you got an interview. You got to get prepared for that. You know what I mean? So let's hear this track, Belly the Beast, featuring Craig G, the legendary Juice Crew, and VVS Verbal from Buck Down Records. Big ups to everybody over there. And let's hear that track right now. Here we go. Thanks a lot, SoulRac.
All right. Peace.
Now, anybody's on my YouTube channel, this is the special part. This is like an extra bonus.
Okay. What's up?
So real quick, SoulRac, man, it's been crazy, man, 2020 so far. Like Isn't it crazy that you came up with BlackFace, and all of a sudden this everything started to happen?
Yeah,
you know when we came up with BlackFace, the vibration was all that trap and all that, and then BlackFace stuck out like a sore thumb. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, within a week's time after the George Floyd, everybody started singing like BlackFace. Even some of the trap, even some of the trap rappers were starting to go, militant and revolutionary. But as you could see, time wore off, and everybody's starting to rap like garbage again. You see?
Exactly.
Right? So BlackFace will ever be a testament of time. We will never forget that single. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I feel the same way. I think that this can't be something that's seasonal as far as what we talk about and dealing with, the consciousness of America and abroad. We have to continue to talk about these things because there will be another George Floyd. There will be another Tamir Rice, just like we saw examples of an Emmett Till. I mean, these things will continue to happen. So it can't be seasonal or, I get emotional at the moment and then, I want to talk about it. So it's important that we continue to address these subjects on an ongoing basis.
SoulRac, thank you so much once again for tuning for coming on to the Majic Mixxx / the Majic Hour. You know what I mean? It's been a pleasure. Keep doing your work, man. We got a third project. Hopefully, we're gonna do a revamp on everything.
We do.
You know what I mean? All SoulRac's Instagram is gonna be at the bottom of the description. You know what I mean? And just hit him up there. You know what I mean? Hit him up. Absolutely. And usually people on Instagram have all their links there, anyways. Instagram is the place to be.